All right, let's talk about that last ugly shaky rep, the one you think is the secret sauce for all your muscle gains. You believe grinding to your absolute limit is the only way to grow. But what if the science says you're not just wrong, but that glorious face-contorting effort might actually be holding you back? We're about to unpack the latest research to finally settle this debate. Is training to failure the key to hypertrophy, or does going even further, into the mythical realm of beyond failure, create next-level gains? The answer is more complicated and way more powerful than you've been told. By the end of this, you'll know exactly how hard you should really be training to get the most out of every single set. What are we even arguing about? Defining the terms. First things first, let's define our terms, because failure gets thrown around the gym more than a 10-pound dumbbell. Training to failure is when you do reps in a set until you physically cannot do one more with good form. This is called momentary muscular failure. It's that point where your muscle just gives up. It can't produce enough force to move the weight no matter how much you grunt. We're not talking about a sloppy, cheated rep. We're talking about technical failure where another clean rep is impossible. Then there's training beyond failure. This is where things get wild. It doesn't mean you suddenly find superhuman strength after you've already failed. It's about using special techniques to make a set longer after you've hit that wall. Think of things like drop sets, where you immediately lower the weight and keep pumping, or partial reps, where you keep the set going with a shorter range of motion. You aren't really going beyond failure. You're just changing the rules to let you keep working. So the real question is, should you stop when you can't do another rep, or should you use these advanced techniques to squeeze even more out of your muscles? The case for training to failure. Look, the logic for training to failure makes a ton of sense. As you get deeper into a set and your muscles get tired, your body starts to panic and calls in the big guns, your higher threshold motor units. These are connected to your fast twitch muscle fibers, which have the most potential to make you bigger and stronger. The theory is that by pushing all the way to failure, you force your body to use every last muscle fiber, sending the strongest possible signal for growth. For decades, this was the gospel of bodybuilding. Go hard or go home, right? For seasoned lifters, pushing to that limit feels like the most direct way to tell your muscles, hey, you better grow back stronger. It creates a massive amount of mechanical tension, and we know that's the #1 driver of muscle growth. But this is where the plot thickens. While taking a set to failure is definitely effective, a massive body of scientific research has come to a surprising conclusion. For building muscle, it's not necessarily any better than stopping just shy of it. That's right, ending your sets with about 1 to 3 good reps still in the tank, a concept called reps in reserve, or RIR, seems to give you very similar muscle building results. While some meta-analyses suggest there might be a slight edge for training to failure, the difference is often small and comes at a huge cost. That cost is one critical factor: fatigue. Training to absolute failure generates a ridiculous amount of neuromuscular fatigue. It beats up your muscles, fries your central nervous system, and demands way more recovery time. This fatigue doesn't just make you sore for your next workout, it can hammer the very next set you do. Going to failure on your first set of bench press can tank the number of reps you get on your next 2 sets, which means your total training volume, a key driver of growth, actually goes down. Basically, stopping 1 to 2 reps short of failure gives you almost all of the muscle-building stimulus with just a fraction of the fatigue. This lets you recover faster, crush your next sets, and get in more high-quality work over time, leading to better long-term gains. Oh, and for strength, meta-analysis confirm that strength gains are minimally impacted by how close you are to failure, so stopping short doesn't hurt you there either. If your mind is already blown, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. We're about to get into the really wild stuff, the science behind beyond failure techniques, and you won't want to miss the practical rules that will completely change how you build your workouts. Deconstructing the myth of beyond failure. So what about those absolute animals you see doing drop sets until they can't lift a soup can? Are they tapping into a secret growth hack the rest of us are missing? Well, scientifically speaking, you can't go beyond momentary muscular failure. Failure is failure. It's the point where your nervous system can no longer get the job done for that specific weight and range of motion. You can't just magically recruit more fibers. When someone does a drop set or uses partials after hitting failure, they're not breaking the laws of physiology. They're just changing the rules of the exercise. By dropping the weight, they reduce the load. By doing partial reps, they shorten the range of motion. Both things make the exercise easier, allowing the muscle to keep working. It feels incredibly hardcore and the pump is insane, but you're not overriding your body's limits. You're just finding a clever way to work around them. That doesn't make these techniques useless, far from it, but it's key to understand what's actually happening. You're not a superhero breaking through a physiological wall. You're just being smart and modifying the exercise to extend the set. But here's where things get really interesting, and we're talking about brand new science. While we know you can't go beyond failure, extending the set with modified reps might be an incredibly powerful tool. Recent research has focused on performing partial reps after you've hit failure, specifically when the muscle is in its lengthened or stretched position. A wild 2025 study published in Frontiers in Psychology looked at calf raises. Participants trained one leg to standard failure. For the other leg, once they hit failure, they kept going with additional partial reps in the stretched position of the calf raise. After 10 weeks, the results were kind of insane. The standard failure leg saw a 6.7% increase in muscle thickness, but the leg that added the past failure partials grew by a whopping 9.6%. That's a huge difference, suggesting that adding these lengthened partials could be like pouring gasoline on the fire for muscle growth. Why does this work? The prevailing theory is that training a muscle at long lengths, or when it's stretched, is a powerful signal for growth all by itself. By adding partials in the stretched position after you've already gassed out the muscle, you're accumulating more high-tension work exactly where it might be most effective. But hold your horses. This benefit might be muscle-specific, with muscles like the calves seeing a bigger boost than others, so don't go trying it on everything just yet. The ultimate showdown, your new training rules. So, what does this all mean for you in the gym tomorrow? It's not about picking a side. It's about using each strategy as a tool. Here are the simple, science-backed rules for building maximum muscle. Rule number 1, make near failure your foundation. The vast majority of your work, around 80% of your sets, should end with 1 to 3 reps in reserve. This is your bread and butter, the sweet spot. You get nearly all of the muscle-building benefits with way less fatigue, which lets you maintain higher quality training volume week after week. This is the smartest way to train for both size and strength. Rule number 2, use true failure like a precision weapon. Training to failure isn't the enemy, but it is a high-cost, high-reward tool. Think of it like a sniper shot. Save it for the very last set of an exercise, especially on insulation movements like bicep curls, leg extensions, or lateral raises. This gives you that maximum stimulus without creating a ton of fatigue that kills the rest of your workout. Avoid taking heavy compound lifts like squats and deadlifts to true grinding failure, where the risk of injury and system-wide fatigue is just too high. Rule number 3, deploy beyond failure techniques as a finisher. Think of drop sets and past failure partials as your shock and awe tactics. They are finishers. Because they are incredibly fatiguing, they should be used sparingly. The perfect time to use them is on the final set of an exercise for a muscle group you really want to grow. For example, on your last set of leg curls, once you hit failure, immediately drop the weight by 20 or 30% and pump out as many reps as you can. It's a brutal but effective way to provide a new stimulus and blast through a plateau. So, this whole failure versus beyond failure fight, it was never about picking a winner. It's about having a full toolbox and knowing when to use a hammer versus a scalpel. The smartest lifters don't just train hard, they train smart. Your foundation should be built on hard sets taken close to failure. True failure is a powerful tool you should use surgically, only at the right moments. And beyond failure techniques are your special weapons, saved for when you need to shock a muscle into new growth. So, the next time you walk into the gym, don't just ask, am I going hard enough? Ask, am I training smart enough? Stop just punishing your body with every set and start programming your progress. That is the real secret to making gains. If this just saved your next workout, smash that like button and definitely subscribe for more fitness that's all science, no fluff. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Are you team failure, team reps in reserve, or a little bit of both? I read all the comments. See you in the next one.